So this is the session for review, and I will talk about some of the questions I usually hear. Again, it often comes up that people are reassured to know that you're not letting these distractions go forever. We're not talking about some kind of a healing here. What we're talking about is letting the distraction go for just the 5, 10, 15 minutes that you are meditating or working your relaxation practice. Advanced shifting takes the shifting experience from week 3, where you're doing it within a half an hour of your meditation, and then it has you using some sort of a landmark in your workplace or home to remind you to shift 4 or 5 times a day. Again, this is a way to make this relaxation response more accessible. You think about it as someone who has tense muscles, and they exercise, and in exercising they teach the muscle to relax by creating additional constriction. When you are working the practice, you're doing the very same thing, except you are learning gradually and skillfully to tend to distraction, tension, sensation, emotion, and thought in a way that opens up relaxation to you, and gradually, in a very practical way, the mind resolves the difference between the meditative and the non-meditative self through exposure to the relaxed self, and gradually you just become more relaxed, and the easy self, those moments while you're meditating that you feel at ease, begin to become a part of your day-to-day experience. So what I then talked about were the 3 ways: passive acceptance, breath, and confrontation. So there are many ways of dealing with distraction. The 3 that I focused on here are passive acceptance, breath, and confrontation. Passive acceptance is the skill which you're going to use, or I anyway use, probably 99% of the time. It's very rare that I will utilize breath, and even more rare that I will use confrontation, because with each one of these steps I am moving closer to my non-meditative self. I'm bathing myself in tension. And so you always start with passive acceptance and then move to breath. And if you still have motivation to hang in there and you haven't been kicked out of the meditation yet, you can try confrontation. Breath work is a way of first conceptualizing the distraction as a thought form, a material which is made up, or tension which is dependent on a very typically narrow perspective, information drawn based on that perspective, and then assumptions which are based on the limited information or misinformation your perspective offers to you. But working with that in a sort of heady way while meditating is quite difficult. It's sometimes much more easy to just think of the emotional components almost as scaffolding or structure that holds the thought form together. And as you exhale these emotional components, eventually the tension will let you go, or you will be kicked out of the meditation. And if it lets you go, you will find yourself in a deeper experience of relaxation. Similarly, confrontation is extremely close to regular consciousness, and it involves you creating a envisioned or 3-dimensional reality in which you are going to personify the distraction, and turning things on its head, ask permission for that distraction to let you go for the 5, 10, 15 minutes that you're meditating, with the promise that you'll come back and listen to it exhaustively afterwards, although you don't really need to. Non-resistance. As you meditate, you will tend to and release tension. I'd like you to accept that things tend to release in their own time, and the cycle of tension and relaxation is what strengthens a tendency to relax. Over time, this makes you more likely to respond to tension without becoming tense, and to release tension sooner. It's similar to what you experience when you go to the gym or exercise. Moving through your day, you accumulate tension in your body. Muscles become tighter and tighter. And when you work out, through the bouncing back and forth of contraction and extension, the muscles relearn how to release tension. It is the same thing that happens with your mind. It is possible that in your practice, you will be able to identify a distraction, but be unable to let it go. And for now, just continue to return to relaxation. You can use passive acceptance, primarily, breath at times, and then very rarely, confrontation. Non-resistance 2. This is primarily relevant with tension that seems cyclical or resurfaces again and again. First thing that I need you to accept is that learning occurs in the absence of knowledge or experience. If you find yourself in your practice where you don't know what's happening, it's because you're learning something. I need you to understand that change is an adaptive process in response to new information. As the relaxed self emerges, and already you have the experience of being in a meditative state as yourself and feeling at ease, you gradually begin to know yourself in a new way. And this feeling of ease becomes distinguished for you. Nuanced, clear, and accessible. Until and over time, these cyclical experiences resurfacing again and again, not knowing what to do with them, you relax, your awareness expands, and new information floods in, changing your perspective, and you begin to feel ease. Now, all of this is somewhat difficult to put to words, but let me try. You can imagine you took a look at your life as a frozen moment in time, not so that the timeline moved along a horizontal axis with each event in your life occurring in serial, one after another, but instead, if you were to take that timeline and shift it up on its end so that it was on a vertical axis with all of your experiences stacked one on top of each other as if they were all happening in one moment, and without eliminating any information, you felt relief. Integrating your practice. We started off with a basic practice of relaxation. And then I introduced you to the tool of shifting, which really was a way of helping you to integrate your practice into your day-to-day life and make it very accessible to you, while at the same time strengthening your knowledge and experience of the basic practice and the experience of yourself at ease. If you have practiced daily for the last 4 weeks, for 5, 10, 15 minutes, then you probably do feel very comfortable with the practice. If you've practiced about half of the time, then you're probably going to require another few weeks to get there. But once you feel comfortable, and even if you've only practiced once a week and you feel a sense of comfort with your basic practice, then I want you to start to play with your practice. I want you to start doing different things while meditating or shifting. I want you to meditate or shift while you walk. while you eat, while you have a conversation. Because this skill is internal and sensation-based, it is not something that anyone is going to know that you are using. The most they're ever going to see is you take a breath. Try to play with touch and your other senses while you meditate. I want you to meditate in different places. I want you to meditate where distraction is everywhere around you. I want you to go to a mall, sit on a street corner at a busy intersection, meditate near others, meditate with someone, meditate when there's no one around you. There is no one form of meditation. In fact, there are as many meditations as there are people and the number of times that you meditate. No two meditations are alike. So your practice truly is your own. Integrate it with your day-to-day life. Use it. Universalizing. You are not alone in the experiences and the challenges associated with intentionally relaxing. Having taught many people, I've come to realize that a sense of identity can develop in relation to this practice. And this sort of newfound identity as a meditator can be isolating. In the beginning, it may gratify you and help you to feel special or unique, but it would also close you off. There is nothing that you're going to experience while learning this practice that people can't identify with. Frustration, calm, feeling at ease, feeling confused, remembering unresolved interactions with others. If you believe that this experience cuts you off from others, it will make things more difficult. And I think this goes beyond the practice. In general, the parts of us that we view as unacceptable cut us off from the supports that we often need. Assuming that those close to you have your best interests in mind, family and friends will be able to accept the changes this practice will promote. Because what we're talking about here is you feeling relaxed and at ease. It is often better to bring your friends and family on the same side of a struggle as you are on. If you do not, your struggle may isolate you from those that you are closest to. So this will be our last meditation together. I, of course, want to thank you for the time that you've taken to learn this skill. It's clearly something that's very important to me, and learning how to teach this through teaching has been somewhat of a mainstay of the last, more than 2 decades. So this is our last practice. I want to send you off with well wishes and my warmest feelings, and wishing you all the best. So if you'll, again, normalize, just shut your eyes and normalize to your physical sensations, where your body is in the chair, your hands on your lap, what direction your eyes are facing, where your tongue is in your mouth. Emotionally, do you feel happy, angry, sad? And whatever it is, there's no need to make any kind of change or adjustment. And mentally, do you feel alert, confused, clear, distracted? And as you begin to move into that deepest sensation of relaxation, you can hear my voice in the background. As you relax, your awareness expands. Sensation, emotion, and thought are going to move towards you. I want you to deal with them as if you're passing someone on the street. Simply look at them, recognize them for what they are, and then continue on with relaxing. If you find at some point that you become attached to the distraction, becoming tense yourself, just let it go. Don't be strict with yourself, because that would be the opposite of relaxation. Instead, perhaps with an exhalation, return to that deepest sensation of relaxation. And listen to my voice. Just this once. Let go. Give in. and bring yourself all the way back. I want to thank you for the opportunity to share this skill with you. It has been a privilege. I found this skill to be very helpful to me, and I want to encourage you to continue using the skill. I know that I set an earlier expectation on not talking about what it is that you're learning, and I want you to be aware that as you talk about this with others, you may well complicate it, your very personal experience of ease and relaxation. However, that learning rule is no longer relevant for you. So do feel free to share and talk about this skill with friends and family. I want you to know that there is far more material in this presentation series than we have taken time to talk about in the 5 weeks that we spent together. As you practice, material will unpack, and you will find insights and relevancy into your experience of ease as you continue to practice. If you continue to practice daily, you will find that in the next 3 or 4 months you will still be able to derive a great deal of utility from these PowerPoints and what it is that we've sort of talked about here. I wanted to say that being able to put words on something which is quite remarkable, unique, nuanced experiences has certainly taken me a great deal of time and energy to do, and I am astounded at the accessibility of this skill. What I've given you is something I hope which is very simple and accessible and easy to reproduce as you continue this practice and your experiences of yourself. And thank you really very much, and again, it has been a privilege. Meditation as a vault. Meditation is not like a vault. It's quite the opposite, actually. However, I found in teaching this over many years, this dramatization helps people to get it, what it is that I want to share with them about this experience. So let's assume that you have gone about normalizing, you have checked in with what it is you think and feel and what position your body is in, not trying to make any kind of change or adjustment, just simply checking in. And then as you close your eyes, you begin to relax. And as you sit inside of this vault, you realize that your thoughts begin to bounce off of the walls. And without thinking about it, without even realizing that it's happened, you have reached out and grabbed onto one of these thoughts. And as you did, you've become more tense. And you look at it, and you say to yourself, this is me. This is who I am. This is the world that I live in. And your mind begins to problem solve this thought, this sensation, emotion, or thought. And as you do, you become more and more tense. So tense, in fact, that eventually you realize, oh, I'm no longer relaxing. And you let the thought go. And then you return to relaxing. And as you relax, you notice that your thoughts begin to bounce off of the walls of this vault. And without even realizing it, without even knowing that it's happened, one of these thoughts has been so attractive to you, so interesting, that you have reached out and grabbed onto it. And as you look at it, you become more tense, and you say to yourself, and as you look at it, you say to yourself, this is me. This is who I am. This is the world that I live in. Becoming more and more tense. And your mind begins to problem solve that thought, that sensation, emotion, or thought. And as it does, it becomes more and more tense, often creating a vivid, three-dimensional environment where you dramatize and play out that thinking, becoming more and more tense with each step until you realize, I'm no longer relaxing. And so you let the thought go, and you return to relaxing. And again, you notice that as you relax, your thoughts begin to bounce off the walls of this vault. And for whatever reason, this time you don't reach out and grab onto the thought. And you begin to notice that every time these thoughts hit the walls of this vault, they lose power and speed until they disappear. Until there's nothing in this vault but you. And it feels okay. And it feels good. And you like what you feel. It's as if you took a little aluminum boat out into the lake at dawn. It's so crisp and cool that you can see the mist rising up off of the lake. And you've got that little outboard motor pushing you through the water, making those little ripples in the glassy surface of the water. And when you get out in the middle of the lake, you cut the engine. And it's as if the silence rushes in at you. And it's just you. It's as if you can almost see the air hanging around you. And it's okay. And it's just you. And you like it. You like how it feels. This is the Meditations Evolved.